All right, guys, welcome back to another video, your daily gaming news. If you are new to the channel or if you've been watching for a while, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also check out my Spotify link is in the description. We have tons to talk about today, and we are going to start off here with Assassin's Creed Shadows. We got the reveal trailer for the game yesterday, and the game, at least from just the cinematic trailer, looks like it is going to be a pretty good entry into the Assassin's Creed series. It looks phenomenal, to be completely honest, in my opinion, from everything that I'm hearing and reading about it. I'm pretty excited for this game, but we got the announcement for it. It is going to be releasing November 15th on the current generation consoles only. This will not be cross-gen. It won't be released on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, but will be coming out for the PS5, the Xbox Series X and S, and the PC in the updated Anvil engine. So right away off the bat, I mean, they're probably going to make this game look better than the previous games. And I think from what we've seen from Ubisoft and what they've been able to do with their Assassin's Creed games that already look very good. If you think about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which came out right at the beginning of this generation of consoles, it was cross-gen and it actually had some pretty good performance across the board. So I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing here, which only focusing on the current generation consoles and how good and how well this game will perform. It is taking place in feudal Japan in the year 1579 during the Azuchi Miyamoya period. So that's where the main setting is, and that's a setting that I've thought that Ubisoft should bring Assassin's Creed 2 for a while, and I think it's awesome that they are doing this. And there's a lot of stuff within this game. I mean, there's a huge list of information that came out about what will be included in this game in terms of the gameplay. So I'll go through some of the cool things that I did pick out here. First of all, the size of the open world, that has been a topic of discussion with the big open world RPG Assassin's Creed games for a while, especially because of Valhalla. I mean, I loved Valhalla. I played through the entire thing. I played the DLCs and everything. And I really thought that there was so much to explore and do in that game. And I was just stuck in that world. But people, a lot of people that I've talked to thought it was just way too big and they just didn't have the time to go through it. So that kind of turned people off. But if you remember, when they first started these open world RPGs, Assassin's Creed Origins in Egypt was the perfect kind of size, I thought, with the open world RPG system that they do have. And they are bringing it back to that size, which I think is a good choice because they've been making these smaller games with Assassin's Creed Mirage to kind of give people who want that size of game. And then they're also making the open world RPGs. And now instead of continuing to expand out those open worlds, they're scaling it down a bit. I think it will be more populated. I think there will be more to do, and it'll just be very nice and dense and in the perfect size of an open world in terms of it taking place there in feudal Japan. So pretty excited about that. And I mean, if you ever played Origins, it is a phenomenal game. Go check that one out if you haven't. Now, here's where kind of a controversy comes in, which I kind of think is stupid, to be completely honest. But there are two protagonists in this game. You have Yasuke and Neo. And Neo, you're a shinobi, and Yasuke, you are a samurai. Yasuke was a black samurai during this time period. He is an actual historical figure. You can go Google it, look it up. This isn't just a random person that they have put in the game to meet some sort of, I think, quota or whatever people are arguing about here online about Yusuke. He's an actual historical figure, and I think this goes in line with how Ubisoft makes their games. They look at these timelines and then they bring characters over to meet those timelines. And I'm pretty interested in this character. I think this is very cool. I'm actually excited to play as Yusuke, but you have people out there basically arguing that they only did this because he is black and they're trying to meet the whole DEI thing. Now, I will say for sure, there are games out there are pieces of art, movies, TV shows where they definitely force things into narratives, and that takes away from the narrative because they are changing things that just doesn't make any sense just to fill a quota or a requirement and stuff like that. But I don't think this at all is one of them. And there's going to be a lot of pushback and a lot of anger and all this stuff online about it. And I think it's because people just kind of go too far to one extreme or the other. They don't look at things on a case by case basis. And for this one, doesn't really make sense to me why people care that Yusuke is the main protagonist in this game. So we will see if it has any effect. I don't think it will. From the majority of the talk online, people are pretty excited to play this game. Now, each character has their own personal quest. You can play as one or the other. You can freely switch between them both in the open world. during, they say, other objectives, and they have different ways that they do play. Yasuke, he says, a real historical figure who was brought to Japan by a Jesuit missionary and then became a samurai and served Oda Nobunaga. And then Noe is an agile shinobi who likes stealth but knows how to fight, can use a grappling hook to traverse the environments, physics based so it can be improbable. And Yasuke's fighting style is more head-on direct combat with parries, breaking enemy armor plates, decapitation, finishers. And if the finishers and the moves that kill the enemies in Assassin's Creed have always been pretty cool, so I'm excited to see how these ones look, how they do feel when you play through it. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff here. I mean, you can see this long list, but some of the other cool things is there's going to be seasons in this game. So the changing seasons will actually affect the gameplay changes. It will actually have an effect on what's going on here. For example, it says you can crawl prone underwater in a pond during the summer, whereas the pond will be frozen over the winter. Grass grows tall in the spring, but they say it's perfect for hiding while it dies off in the fall. One of the things with this game that we apparently are really going to be see brought back into the open world RPGs is that Assassin's Creed stealth mechanics, like actual real stealth mechanics, which makes complete sense, especially for the characters that you are playing. But at the same time, it's not really something that we have seen in these open world RPGs. It's almost something that they've kind of forgotten. And that's kind of why they brought back Assassin's Creed Mirage. But it says here you can hide in the shadows to escape enemies and take out light sources to evade detection, a la Splinter Cell. So I'm very excited about that. How you're going to be able to go head on, fight your enemies, or you're going to actually be able to take on the Splinter Cell stealth style of mechanics and take them out that way. And there's also hideouts where you can customize it, grow and train your own shinobi league, craft new gear, interact with other characters, and choose your base's layouts and decorations. There's going to be huge castles and just so many things. I mean, go check it out. Go check out the whole breakdown of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it is coming out November 15th, coming out on the Series X, S, PlayStation 5, and PC. And I'm extremely excited for this. This will be one that I'm playing day one and up there for one of the games I'm most excited for here in 2024 because it looks great. And I've been a big fan of the other Assassin's Creed games. But let's jump over here and let's talk about a new update here coming to Xbox for the PC launcher, which is something they're continuously bringing. And there's some good stuff here. First of all, the mouse and keyboard support for Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming. It says mouse and keyboard support for cloud gaming will start rolling out today. You can use your mouse and keyboard for your gaming experience on web browsers. So basically, you just go to your xbox.com/play, log into your Game Pass account, and now you're going to be able to play PC games with a mouse and keyboard just by launching your Edge or Chrome browser, which I think is awesome because a lot of the times it's when you are going to play cloud gaming through the browser, it's like you may not have a controller with you plugged in, or let's say you're on the go, you have your laptop, you pull it out, may have forgotten the controller. Now you don't have to worry about that. You're going to be able to play your games via the mouse and keyboard. So happy to see that. And here are the 26 titles right now that will be included with the mouse and keyboard. There is a long list going from Ark Survival Evolved, Halo Infinite, High on Life, plus many others, but they will be adding more games to this list as they continue to expand out this feature. Now, they've also added some updates to the actual PC gaming experience on the app itself. Like there's going to be a new channel here celebrating Hellblade 2, which comes out on May 21st, which game is looking phenomenal. Compact mode improvements are starting to roll out, and I hope these compact mode improvements are because they are preparing themselves to release an Xbox handheld, and they really want to make this thing good for that. So you get that console UI experience. That's kind of what my hope of all of these changes to the PC app is for, just making sure it's more of like that intuitive, easy to navigate console like experience to eventually be ported over to something like an Xbox handheld, or maybe they just develop and take the current console UI and bring that over to the handheld. Who knows? But that's kind of what my hope is. But there is some PC updates here rolling out that I think will be good for people to check out more games with the mouse and keyboard controls. Now, when it comes to studios, it looks like a new studio is making an open world action game, and this is coming from Dan Houser, who is Rockstar's co-founder. So he has a new studio called Absurd Ventures, and it says here that the Santa Monica, California-based studio is currently recruiting for 7 game development roles, including a lead gameplay designer, And the listings for this role talk about the type of game it is, saying become the primary vision holder and hands-on contributor for characters, control, and camera design in an open-world action adventure game. The person in this role will lead a team of multidisciplinary specialists to deliver best-in-class combat, third-person action across multiple game modes. And I mean, they obviously have pretty good experience at Rockstar, and or previously had good experience at Rockstar making third-person action adventure games. So we will see what this is all about. It's good to think about these new studios and the games that they are creating, because we have been in a time, but basically the beginning of this year has been all about studio closures, layoffs, and game cancellations. So when you see new studios popping up and actually hiring for roles, that to me is a positive sign. So I'm going to keep my eye on here what Absurd Ventures is making, and hopefully it'll be something interesting that people will end up wanting to play. Now, when it comes to, or back to Xbox, they're actually making a new controller. Now, this is a pretty interesting one. They've done this before. They've made the adaptive controller, and it looks like they are making another adaptive controller for people with disabilities. And this is called the Proteus controller. They say it's a gamepad for Xbox gamers with disabilities. The customizable controller is expected to ship in the fall for $299. So here it is. You can see it. It is definitely a very interesting design. It's like 4 balls that you can manipulate and change where they are positioned depending on, I guess, your disability, and how it will make it easiest for you to actually play games. And you can see that there's some customizability there on the side. So pretty cool there. So if this is something that is useful for you, make sure to keep your eyes on the Proteus controller. And this is just Xbox continuing to expand out and make it easier for more people to be able to experience their game. All right, when it comes to Bethesda, we've gotten some big updates here for their games for Fallout 4 and for Starfield. But we'll start off here with the Starfield major update that they announced last week or the week before that, where we were getting the 60 FPS mode on the console, an update to the actual surface map showing you where things were. So it was a relatively large update. It says you're getting improved surface maps, inventory navigation tabs, new gameplay options in the settings menu, ship decoration mode for interior ships, change of traits and appearance after entering the Unity, dialogue camera toggle in the settings, and display settings for the Xbox Series X to prioritize visuals or performance. And the question is, how good is this performance now for Starfield? Is it bringing it closer to par to the experience that you would get on a similar PC? And we do have an analysis here now from Digital Foundry that gave us kind of an update as to how good this update actually was. And here's what they say. The good news is that this mode is indeed capable of achieving 60 FPS in a range of content. The major asterisk here is performance in big cities like Aquila and New Atlantis, which run much more poorly than the rest of the game. We're typically in the 30s and 40s here, with some larger repeatable hitches in certain areas. And I'm guessing the more populated that the region you are in is, the more hiccups there are with the frame rate. Now, this is kind of something that was mentioned when Starfield first released on console, was they didn't want the game to pull you out of the immersion. There were hiccups with the frame rates depending on what was on the screen, and it looks like overall it's good, but there's still areas here where it does drop down. Then they also say this: playing in the performance mode at 60 FPS with VRR enabled at 120 Hz output feels like a good sweet spot to me that provides the most consistent and most smooth overall experience, though I could see an argument for most of the other visual options available here. So overall, it sounds like the Starfield update is good. You're getting a much better, smoother performance experience, and I think that's good. The question here will always be coming up now at this point, now that this May update has dropped, is should they have just delayed it until literally yesterday and release the game with this mode in there, with these settings in there? I mean, I don't think it really affected Starfield to release it at 30 FPS on the console. Game still sold very well, still was very commercially successful, did great for Game Pass. A lot of people played it in there. So I don't know how much of an effect that would have had, because it was just such a big title. I just feel like it would have definitely probably taken away some of the negative talk that people had towards this game on the console, which would have potentially helped its overall review scores and things like that. But it's good that it's here now, and I'm going to be jumping in on my Xbox Series X to kind of compare the differences. Now, when it comes to Fallout 4, we did get the 60 FPS update to Fallout 4 a few weeks ago, but there were some issues with that update, and now it has been revised. And here is what they say about this. They say, we've tested the game on PS5, Series X, and Series S to see what's changed with the new update, and there's plenty to praise here. though some problems still remain. Crucially, Bethesda has at least provided a working graphics mode selector in the Xbox Series X and S, a clearly labeled switch between visuals mode and performance mode that replaces the broken on and off performance toggle we saw before. So that was kind of an issue when they first added this update to the Xbox consoles. Then they say, despite having so many modes and options available, 36 permutations in all across the 3 consoles, by my count, Fallout 4's performance is fairly straightforward to summarize. Regardless of your console, a locked 60 FPS is normally possible even on the most demanding visual mode, but hitching issues remain. So there you have it. Looks like they added some more fixes to the Fallout 4 update. And I mean, the game itself in 60 FPS is going to be a far better experience, especially from a game that was released a while ago. So Bethesda's bringing these updates. They are making sure that the games that they have out right now are desirable to continue to play. And I think one of the big things here is they know they're not going to have anything else really new for a very long time. You know, there's Elder Scrolls 6 in the works, but that's still a ways out. And Fallout 5, which is even further out. So they want to make sure that people are still playing their games, still jumping into the Bethesda worlds by bringing updates to the older games that they have. So cool to see that they are still working on that stuff. Now, when it comes to the Division, the Heartland game that we know Ubisoft had been working on, and this was a free-to-play game, and it was kind of a multiplayer take on, or a PvP take on the whole Division game itself. I know the Division, the current game they have, you know, the Dark Zone and everything, but this was just kind of a different spin-off on the series itself. The game has been canceled. Now, I don't know how many people are going to be actually truly disappointed by this. This game never really got out there too much and didn't really have, I don't think, a huge fan base, at least what I could tell. But the game has been canceled. And this was the free-to-play spinoff from the main series. It was supposed to expand the game's universe to a new location and introduce a different type of gameplay to that of the current titles. And they kind of did something here from a PR marketing perspective that is kind of smart. I'll be completely honest. They announced that this game was canceled after all of the talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. On the same day, they come out and say this game is canceled. So I don't think many people are even going to care or even really realize that the game has been canceled. But specifically, this is kind of what they say. They had their earnings report as well in this, and they say this: as a part of Ubisoft's efforts to streamline its operations and adapt to evolving market trends, there have been further reorganizations within the global publishing teams, both at the APAC region, that is now organized into 3 engagement hubs, and at the central level. Additionally, in line with the increased selectivity of its investments, Ubisoft has decided to stop development on the Division Heartland and has redeployed resources to bigger opportunities such as X-Defiant and Rainbow Six. And X-Defiant is the first-person shooter that is coming out soon. That's going to be a huge game for the competitive scene and for potentially even the casual scene. They're taking on Call of Duty or trying to take players away from Call of Duty and bring them over to X-Defiant. But I'm not really surprised by this. This is kind of what we are seeing throughout the entire industry is these big publishers now are being far more conservative and far more selective on what they actually want to develop and release. They want to make sure everything that they put out is going to be a hit, basically. Like, they don't want to take any more risks, at least for right now, with everything shrinking and the game development costs getting more expensive and less people buying than we used to see. So they have to make sure everything they put out is a hit. A game like Assassin's Creed is always going to be selling very well. X-Defiant, I think, is going to do good. Rainbow Six, I mean, it's been very successful. So they're just going to give up here on the Division Heartland. And finally, Toys for Bob. We know what happened with Toys for Bob. They were a part of the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. It was probably one of the studios I was most excited for because of the styles of games that they do make. And then Xbox allowed them to spin off independently, but then created a partnership with them, which means that they're going to get access to all of the IPs that they know and love and work on, like the Crashes and everything. And they put this out on their website, this cryptic image, which to me essentially looks like a new Crash game that they are working on. So that's what I'm guessing it is. It's kind of interesting because what their whole announcement about going independent, it sounded like they were working on a new Spiral game. Maybe they're working on 2 games. Who knows? But I'm very excited to see what comes out of the now independent Toys for Bob studio. But I will end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.